Whew. Okay. All right. So more Danny Duncan allegations. I'm gonna reinforce that I'm surprised that Keemstar is actually handling this very well. I have to say that so far, out of all the fan bases I've seen, I think Danny Duncan's is the worst, and it's probably why he'll never respond. Possibly because he doesn't really have to. None of his fans think anything is serious. It's a bunch of kids. It's a bunch of like young kids, and a lot of fan bases will have a bunch of young kids, but I've never seen. I want to be careful not to use the word strong because I don't want you to think you're good people. If you're a Danny Duncan fan, you're not a good person. It's not because you're a Danny Duncan fan, but it's because you're a Danny Duncan fan. You know. Now, honestly, though, like there's literally nothing. There's no critical thought. Everybody's like, "Oh, it was all proven false." Blah blah blah. Listen, the first girl came forward. It seems like there's like proof, unless there's a claim of Photoshop, which nobody has even made a claim of. I don't think that there is, and etc. He had a 5-day snap streak with a 14-year-old when he was 24. We can't prove the rest of the stuff that he slept with her when she was 16 or anything, but still, like that's incredibly suspicious that a 24-year-old would have a snap streak with a 14. Like, what do you have in common? Nothing. It's insane. So it's definitely incredibly suspicious. I happened to read this part in Keemstar's video. I feel bad for the man. Because it doesn't make any sense. Like, you couldn't have anybody that does drama that's closer to like generally agreeing with Danny Duncan fans than Keemstar. You know, he's on like the same mental level, and he's still like, guys, you're insane. You know. He's like, I've already reached out to Danny for comment and stated it in the first interview. I'm confused on how many comments saying are pretending I haven't reached out for statements. Had to edit this now because people are saying, why not offer Danny Duncan an interview? He's always been offered. He's offered an interview on Drama Alert. What are you all on about? That's how crazy these fans are, man. Is that like they're just like factual information that's happening? They're just like, why haven't you done this thing? And Keemstar's like, I always do that thing, and I did this thing today. But anyway, I'm actually pretty impressed on the way Keemstar is dealing with the situation in general. He's doing a good job of like letting people speak, but not like 100% confirming that everything is real. He's being very professional about this, so I give him a lot of credit. One thing that's interesting that I just read on here is that apparently I just read it. I'm gonna have like a brain worm. Danny Duncan's story is insane. This is from 10 minutes ago. Women are apparently continuously reaching out to him. Also, fellow YouTubers with their stories and brands, etc. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Sorry, I gotta adjust. So apparently these actually might be some very deep allegations, but the one that we're going to focus on today, of course, is the newest video, 25 and 17. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. Let's get this going. We got to get through the fucking intro.
What is up?
Why do people always claim sexual assault? Which I'm not saying is fake, but why do they always come out after other drama happens? Like, it's kind of looks like they want clout. I think it's more of a confidence thing usually. You know, like something will happen with somebody and you'll know it's inappropriate and you'll kind of bury it. You'll bury it down and be like, okay, well, this happened. It's like a shitty experience and I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. And also it may not have even really like hit them that hard. Like it's probably something that's like makes them feel really gross, but they're not necessarily traumatized from it. But then they see other people coming forward and like, you know what? I'm going to come forward too, because that's the right thing to do. It's totally just understandable. The reason why they like wait, you know, because I think a lot of people think they're waiting for an opportunity. Like, when's the best time to attack Danny Duncan? No, it's more of like when like other people are talking about this person. Well, you know what? I have an experience, so I'd like to talk about it too. And I feel comfortable talking about it, you know? Also a lot of times, like some people, like, you know, they'll end up going after like multiple people over a period of time. And so they'll be like, if it's just one person, you know, it doesn't really show a pattern. But if you got like 10 people coming forward, like, hey, I have a really shitty experience with this person, all of a sudden it's like, wow, that's a lot. So I think that answers your question. Unless you think it's a conspiracy, which I don't.
Drama Alert Nation! I'm your host, Killer Keemstar. Let's get right
into the news.
On Last Drumler, we did an interview with an alleged victim of Danny Duncan, who was underage. She claimed that she was 14 when Danny Duncan, when he was 24, reached out to her and they started a relationship, ended up meeting when she was 16. He was 26. After that interview came out, so many women have reached out to us saying, when I was underage, Danny Duncan reached out to me too. This is what they're claiming. So we're going to start bringing some of these stories to light, and we have an interview later in this video with that. But first,
it's unfortunate because sometimes, like, I'm sure some of these are true, and then there's always the possibility of people just like, oh, I'm going to make one for attention. You know what I mean?
I want to talk.
I'm not even saying it's this girl at all. I'm just saying that, like, people like to because there is also an aspect that people like to jump on trends, and then that's why people don't believe people, because they're like, oh, this one's clearly false.
About
Like, I think that happened with like Ryan Kavanaugh. Brett Kavanaugh, which is the Supreme Court guy. Like, there was some valid like scenarios where like he was inappropriate, and then like just random people just started jumping on there and then ruining the whole thing.
Dream, okay? Because he recently just won an award. That's right, the Game Awards gave Dream the Creator of the Year. He said, "Thank you so much." Okay, time out.
This is I don't know, how do I can't. Okay, this isn't okay. I don't really know who Dream is. He plays Minecraft, and I also don't care, because the games that came out this year were like, okay, I wasn't really comment about them. Anyway, this is irrelevant.
Now it's time for the Danny Duncan story. Here's that interview with alleged victim number 2. Roll it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Gigi on the line. Now, let me get this straight. You go to a Danny Duncan concert or whatever. You're 17 years old at the time. You end up meeting him, and then things go on from there. Go ahead, explain.
I went to his concert July 18th, 2018, and I had VIP access or whatever, and so I went and I met him before the concert happened. I told him how much of a role model he was to me. I gave him my...
Why? Okay, whatever. Fuck.
A fanny pack with a fidget spinner in it. He didn't really express much.
Okay. All right.
But then I just went to the front row after taking our...
You gave him a fanny pack with a fidget spinner in it? What the fuck? Okay.
Pictures together.
And the way I understand it is your friends like dared you to throw your bra on stage or whatever. You do that. What happens next?
Yeah, so after the concert ends, he basically, I posted like a picture of us together and he liked it. So that's how he got my Instagram, I guess. And he messaged me fidget spinner bomb. And then after that, I didn't really like think anything of it. I was just like, thanks. But then he like went backstage after the concert and started playing with the fidget spinner, and he asked a worker to tell me that like he appreciated it, and I was like, cool, thanks.
Okay.
And then he started like pointing at me and like playing with the fidget spinner and then aggressively dancing with Cameron to let me love you, and like it was very weird. And then there was the meet and greet afterwards where I got back in line and I said, hi, I'm the one who threw my bra on stage, and he replied with, well, if I would have known it was yours, I would have kept it. And everyone got real tense, and I just got nervous, and I asked him to sign it for me.
Listen, I'm not trying to be that guy. Here's okay. Listen, the way that she's telling the story is it feels dishonest, because it sounds like all the events that happened, but she's telling it from a perspective where she was like, oh, I didn't like it, but she probably did like it at the time. And the reason I say that is it doesn't change anything. It like, this is one of those things where like, just because a younger girl likes an older man doesn't mean that it's appropriate for the older man to try to talk to the younger girl, right? So even if at the time she was probably like into it, she's like, yeah, through my bra, like she probably wanted to, she probably wanted his sexual attention from him, but like it's still inappropriate for him to give it back to her. But the way that she's telling it, it comes off as a little dishonest, because it's like, you're telling me you threw it on stage and then you got awkward, and then but it was so awkward to you, asked him to sign your bra. I feel like you probably were into it, and that's totally fine. But if it doesn't make it appropriate for him to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? And it feels like sometimes we feel like we feel like it has to be 100% evil from Danny Duncan. In order for it to be inappropriate. Now, of course, shitty little Danny Duncan fans will be like, see, she liked it, which I get why you might want to not tell the truth about it. But those people are dumb, right? So we don't really have to worry about the dumb people. The reality is like, it's okay for a young person in general to be attracted to older people. It's the older people's responsibility to not engage with the younger person. This isn't like really hot news. the story just comes off. It just comes off not super realistic to me because of that. You know.
And then I left.
So he signs your bro. When does he find out that you are 17 years old?
Wait,
So
did they sleep together or something? I assumed that they slept together. This is still inappropriate, but
after I like left, went back in, talked to him a little bit, like had a conversation, went back home. It was like 2 a.m.
okay.
and he messaged me,
Okay,
or I
yeah.
messaged him first, and I said, "Hey, if you ever need like a bra in Houston, I've got you." And then he said,
"Yeah, see, like, yeah, she was into it, which doesn't make it okay, but
"You gonna put me in jail?"
okay, yeah. So now he's hitting on her. Let's see. We gotta just kind of looking at the age of consent laws in Texas, obviously. Apparently it's 17. Great. Okay. So this really, yeah. So the age of consent in Texas is apparently 17. I don't think I think that the parents can still press charges. But it's apparently it's 17 years old from what I'm looking at. So, you know, like, I mean, it's incredibly inappropriate. Yeah. So, but, you know, I mean, this adds to like a pattern where he talks to his younger fans, which is inappropriate. I wouldn't say this is like the morally reprehensible one, but okay, it's still gross.
Which is obviously implying that he knew I was underage.
Well, true. You also, so she's like, hey, if you're ever in Houston again, you know, borrow a bra, I got you. So she's being sexual to him. He's being sexual back to her.
Now, how would he know that you're underage, though?
I then commented next, like after that one, and I said, March 27th is my birthday. It'll be legal then.
Okay, so then so at this moment, all right, everything that happened before that, he might have thought you were an adult. But now in this moment where you're explaining, you know, hey, like I'll be.
Yeah, that's one of the weirdest things, especially like with celebrities. It's like a lot of times they can get like whoever they want, but they're like, yeah, let's go for the 17-year-olds. It's like, dude, you have options. You know, it doesn't make it okay, but when you have like these really desperate, disgusting loser like pedophiles going after kids, it's like, okay, like I guess I get why they would do it more. Not like I guess I get why, but you understand what I'm saying. But this person is very optioned. They're not optionless. You know, you could simply not engage with this person. There's no desperation factor there for you.
Legal then, and he's saying, you know, you're gonna put me in jail. At this moment, he clearly knows you're underage. What happens next? Okay.
So after I clearly said my birthday was like in way many months, I said HMU at the end of that, and then he said, well, HMU then, because he sent me like an Instagram photo.
So he's gonna wait until you turn 18, then he's gonna hit you up and you know, whatever.
Okay.
But sorry, I was gonna say, but then I sent him my Snapchat so that he could contact me, and he still added me on Snapchat immediately after.
So
yeah, it's definitely.
He adds you immediately on Snapchat, knows you're 17. What happens next?
So immediately after adding me, it was just like conversation about his YouTube videos, because again, I just wanted to get to know him. And then he asked me if I was down to send, and I said, well, if you're down, I'm down, because obviously it was
so for the sake of the video, you know, we can't say certain terms on YouTube.
Yeah,
but you guys are sending explicit pictures back and forth.
Yeah, okay. So obviously that's illegal. Give me a second. Obviously that's illegal, and like if he gets caught on that, like good, I don't care. But like here's the thing is unfortunately, like we said before, like the age of consent is for whatever reason fine. I mean, we really need to raise the age of consent. He's working within age of consent laws in Texas at least. So if it's not morally wrong for them to physically engage, then like I'm not really going to be like, oh, it's morally wrong for them to. Well, I think it's morally wrong for them to be doing any of this, but you understand what I'm saying. For whatever reason, it's legal for them to have sex. So like the pictures are like, what the fuck? It's just, I mean, this is all going to be what we expect. He talked to a 17-year-old. He shouldn't be like, because they're underage, he should stop fucking around. This one by itself, it's gonna be pretty predictable.
Right.
And
he's probably 29 now. Yeah, I think this was at the time he was 25.
He 1,000% knows you're 17.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
What is he doing? Why is he doing this? Now, we did an interview on Drumler. He started talking to a girl allegedly when you know,
this one's like the much more problematic one to me. Like there's no space. It's Brazil where this would be legal, you know. I think in Japan, I don't know what the age of consent there. You get this is inappropriate in any capacity, And again, there shows that there was a 5-day snap streak that a 24-year-old man had with a 14-year-old girl. This one is completely indefensible in any capacity. It's disgusting. There's no like legality loophole that you can try to work through.
Was 24, she was 14, meets up with her when she's 16, allegedly hooks up with her. After I uploaded that video, I got contacted by so many women that said when they were underage, they were pursued by Danny Duncan. And you were one of them. And a lot of people are saying, well, look, just because he's under fire, all these people are coming out of the woodwork. But you actually brought this to light in 2020, just like the last alleged victim that we interviewed, right?
Yeah, I was groomed. Like, that's not grooming. Listen, like, so what it would be at worst case scenario is potentially statutory rape. Sure, fine. Grooming. We have to stop using the word like grooming as this just general application of an older person talked to me, I was a younger person, or else that word wouldn't need to exist. Grooming is a very deep, like, methodical form of manipulation where usually an older person will condition somebody. I think condition is a good word. They will condition them into having sex with them, right? There's no conditioning in this situation because she wanted to have sex with him. Again, doesn't mean it's okay for Danny Duncan to engage back. It doesn't seem like they did engage. Doesn't make it appropriate for him to engage back. But it's like a very different situation. There's a difference between like a young person wanting to, and we talked about the difference between willingness and consent, stuff like that. Just because somebody's willing doesn't mean that they're of like the proper mind to consent. But there's like a difference between like willingness and consent. There's a difference between like the willingness or that interaction and like grooming. It's very deep. It's very methodical. It's a process that's like it's trying to destroy other relationships in your life so that like the predator can disconnect you from an escape route. This is a very, 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 very heavy thing. It's just a very loaded word. I feel like we're just throwing it out there, it's like if I walked up and like I fucking punched a guy in the nose and he's like, oh, you just killed me. It's like, well, you're not dead. He's like, yeah, but I'm dead. He's like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, words have to have a meaning. They have to have value. I wouldn't say grooming. That's not what a grooming is. Anyway, these are screenshots from July 2018. After I went to the Houston concert, and he messaged me after we added it in Snap. He continuously asked me to send him nudes for months, knowing I was 17. Yeah, that's really wrong. That's really terrible. I think that he should definitely get arrested for that, but it doesn't make it grooming.
I did, yes. It was just a lot for me after.
Do I think he's a dangerous predator? I don't know. Actually, good question. I have to think about that for a bit. I'd have to think about that because so far with the 24 and 14 thing really bothers me a lot. So like, I guess there's different level of danger. Kinda. It seems like he obviously shouldn't be fucking around with kids. He doesn't even need to. I would consider that. I mean, I would just consider that dangerous in general. I mean, just like talking to a 14-year-old is dangerous in general because you have such a massive like headway over them. So like I just find that fundamentally dangerous. But it's weird if you're asking me like a dangerous predator, like predators by, he may have well, first of all, being a predator means that you have to have a continuous pattern of it. So if you did it one time, you wouldn't necessarily consider him a predator. You consider him a disgusting human being though. So like predators are already dangerous, but you know what I'm saying? So then like now are you asking me to gauge level of dangers? I don't know. I feel like we're getting too deep into the conversation right now.
After it, and I waited until I was healed enough, and then I was like, you know what? This has gone on for too long. I know after it, and I waited.
That we interviewed, right?
I did, yes.
Light in 2020, just like the last alleged victim that we interviewed, right?
I did, yes. It was just a lot for me after it, and I waited until I was healed enough, and then I was like, you know what? This
healed from what?
Has gone on for too long. I know there are other girls out there like me, so I posted it on Twitter, and my DMs were.
Well, what does she mean healed from? Like, I don't think that there. So, I think healing from what? So this is one of those things because like the 14, 24-year-old one like really bothers me. Like it actually bothers me because that person is somebody who may have some trauma because we have a potential situation where a 24-year-old man talked to a 14-year-old, tried to physically engage, tried to get her to send pictures, waited 2 years for her to finally sleep with him, then slept with her, then tried to pay her off and give her money because she was so upset by it. And was probably very frustrated and upset from it. So like I genuinely believe that there is a mental aspect there. the 17-year-old girl doesn't really seem like there's a lot of mental healing that needs to happen. I think it's just like, and I know because I say that and you're like, well, she's 17, so I have to believe her. I'm not saying that what happened was right, because it's not. It's disgusting. But I don't like this idea that bad things that happen to everybody are fucking trauma. That's the problem that I kind of have. And like, this is one of those scenarios. So like, if a lot of, especially older women have talked to me about this. And they're like, yeah, when I was younger, I talked to an older guy. And then later on, they're like into it at the time. And then they get older and they grow up and they learn that it's wrong. And they feel gross, icky about it. But there's a general consensus that it's not really traumatic. Just the fundamental of like a younger person talking to an older person. And usually the age range is like, I was like 16 or 17. I was talking to like a 20 to 24-year-old. Like, I'm not talking about like a 15 and like a 30-year-old. And they're like, yeah, it was really wrong. I realize it's wrong now, and it made me feel gross and uncomfortable. But like, I have no trauma. A lot of them are very specific. They specifically will point that out. Like, oh, I don't have any trauma from it. It's just, it makes me feel gross. I feel like a lot now, though, like nowadays, like if it happens to somebody, it's like, it's a trauma. This was my trauma. It's like, it doesn't mean that it's a trauma. Like, not every terrible, shitty thing that happened to you is traumatic. Sometimes it's just a gross learning experience that's really inappropriate. And sometimes, you know, and I'm not trying to be an asshole, but like, we started off with she's putting like a spin on it where she's like, yeah, it was gross the whole time. It seemed like she was into it, which is totally okay because she's the younger party. He's the responsible party being irresponsible. And then we kind of come on to suggestions of trauma. It kind of reads as a little dishonest to me, and I think it hurts the general question because you can be pissed off about it for me pointing it out, but people are still feeling this way. This is the problem. People still are picking up on it. They're just not articulating it. So like, you're having people picking up, listening to what she's saying, be like, yeah, this feels off. I'm just the one expressing it because I can understand it and I know how to like talk about it. And I feel like it hurts the other girl's message that seems to be much more credible. So
flooded as well.
So there's so, and I want the viewers to understand, there are so many females hitting us up saying, hey, Danny Duncan did the same thing to me. Like, you know, there are so many out. This is wild. All right. This is on a scale that's bigger than the James Charles.
Should predators be euthanized? Yes. What? Like, of course.
Skin. Like there's so many. It's unbelievable. So we're going to start going through all this. But I guess one thing that his fans, a lot of them are saying was, why haven't you filed a police report?
Well, I did file a police report in Chicago where I currently live. Mm-hmm. But they made like a general report about like child. But
you can't say that word, but okay, well, we had to mute that word.
Sorry.
Okay.
But I called the Houston police because all of it happened in Texas, and they decided not to create a police report because the age of consent is 17 there. But it is still technically illegal, so I am going to file it.
It doesn't matter. If you're under the age of 18 and you're sending explicit pictures back and forth, that's like against the law.
Well, actually, it's different state to state. People are starting to catch up. So here's the thing, just generally speaking, outside of this conversation here. Well, first of all, the age of consent, apparently Chicago is also 17. So, but anyway, fundamentally speaking, our internet laws are behind like our real life laws. I don't know what else you want me to say that. And one of the interesting things is that where you do have a state that has the age of consent of 17 or something like that, or not even that. Like, let's say like two 16-year-olds are talking. There's a time where it was illegal to send nudes. And like, obviously it's gross, but if it's a 16-year-old, if it's legal for two 16-year-olds to sleep together, it's insane that it would be illegal for them to send pictures to each other. It just doesn't make sense because sex is obviously a more intense action than sending pictures. And I understand like you could take those and you could show them around, you could turn it into like CP. But then that's just assuming you're going to break the law. So like, it's kind of dishonest because you're innocent until proven guilty. So it's very possible that they've implemented a law in these states that's like, yeah, since it's legal for these two to sleep together in our state, we're not going to reprimand them for sending nudes to each other. And if it's not, or if it's still technically illegal in like on law, they may not be enforcing it as much. A lot like marijuana laws in New York before they became legal. So it's just something to keep in mind.
I don't
I'm gonna
understand
play that
what
after,
he's
sorry.
doing. What is he thinking? Like, why?
All Danny Duncan's thinking, oh, I'm rich, famous, I have money, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I know I shouldn't be talking to young people, and but I'm still gonna do it because I don't care. This is like a bigger question. This is actually a very important question. Are all the girls he's been trying to fuck with younger, or is just some of them happen to be? It's a big deal because it shows that if they're like, is he really just talking to like underage girls? He should obviously stop. I mean, this guy's fucking 29 now. Even at 25, like, it's what the fuck are you doing?
Why do you think he's going after? Because in 2018, you know, I'm just guessing, because he's 28 now, that would make him 26, right?
He's 29 now.
Right.
26, 17 years. Why?
I think it might be like, I feel personally it's because like it's at the limit. It's right at the edge of underage and like could still get away with it.
That's probably what it is. That's one of the unfortunate things. Is like a lot of times people will like they'll squeeze the law. Like, oh,
But also the demographic of his fans are so young, and I was like one of
are you sure 17, 25 is legal? I mean, bro, the age you can send that in that state is 17. I don't know what other information I would need.
4 girls at his concert, so it's very easy to prey on us because that's
Well,
how I felt.
ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have to leave it there. There are a lot. I mean, I feel like I'm gonna be doing Danny Duncan alleged victim interviews for the next month. Like, I mean,
Oh, no.
you've seen it. How many women have reached out to you that said when they were underage, Danny Duncan pursued them?
Oh, at least a dozen so far. I keep getting more, but none of them really want to come out just because they're so scared.
Well, the Danny Duncan fans, like, I mean, they could see a video of him doing it, like 1,000% guilty, and they're still going to support him.
That's
so,
true, yeah.
You know, I understand. Have you received a ton of hate from coming forward in 2020 and even now talking about this?
I have received so much hate, and it really does take a toll on the person. I have received so many Twitter DMs of people just going in.
And you got receipts. I mean, you got receipts.
I do. I don't understand. And I keep trying to respond to these so-called haters saying, like, this is all the evidence I have. Like,
I don't know, man. I don't like the excitement level of her voice compared to like the other girl. The other girl sounded like she was like really sharing an experience that like upset her. I don't know. It just doesn't feel the same. I'm sorry if you think that's shitty, but I feel like this thing, it's really shitty and inappropriate. But the other one, like, I don't know. The other one was really fucked.
this is all I have. Like, please just take it for what it is. And I don't know. They're just not listening.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have to leave it right there. I guess next drum alert we'll bring up, you know, alleged victim number 3, but this was alleged victim number 2. If you enjoyed this video and you want to keep up to date on this Danny.
Yeah, I think that, like, obviously I'd like to hear from more victims or potential victims about that situation. This one is just like a little weird. Like, it's gross, but unfortunately it's legal in the area. That's usually how our laws operate. We would generally make the reasonable assumption that if it wasn't illegal, people wouldn't break the law. Danny Duncan probably would still do it, though. That's why the 14-year-old one is much more credible and whatnot. Or that's the 14-year-old one's much more serious, incredible. But yeah, I don't know. This guy, there still does seem to be, what I will say is, so far a pattern of him being very comfortable talking to his fans, his underage fans, even if they're at a legal age gap. He still seems to be rather comfortable with it. It also seems like, yeah, I don't think he's gonna respond. He just posted a video. He doesn't really have to care. I don't really know what the dislike. Let's see. Yeah, like here, this is his newest video. This is the fuck.
Warning. We're in a safe control.
Here you go. You got some other dude saying everyone's trying to bring Danny down, but he's still on top. He didn't even like it himself, so he's probably just disengaging. Yeah, none of these are even negative. Jesus Christ. This man is invincible. He doesn't stay off his grind no matter what people try to say about him. Oh my god. Everyone's talking about him uncanceling himself. No one's talked about George dying. Rest in peace. I don't know who that is. Sounds sad, but I don't believe the cloud chasers. Yeah, there's probably nothing's probably gonna get it. So let me just end this off. Nothing's probably, he's probably not going to respond because nobody even, his fans don't even care. I think that he probably, this is going to be one of the biggest problems Um, here's one of the biggest problems here. Okay, and I want to try to wrap this around you guys' head. Okay, we have a very new age narrative where anything that's seen as inappropriate is seen as cancelable, and it's gonna hurt the overall conversation, because I wouldn't doubt that like the first girl, that seems incredible, very credible, and that seems to be a real thing. That 14-year-old that he talked to when he was 24, that one seems very credible. That's incredibly inappropriate and like cancelable, right? Then we have something like the second girl, which is very inappropriate.
You actually
Wouldn't necessarily call it cancelable because it was legal in the state. You could disagree with me. I don't really care because I don't consume this guy's content anyway. The problem is that like we don't really have nuanced conversations about these. So if anything feels inappropriate at all, it's like, oh, it's cancelable, and you carry the cancelable energy with things that wouldn't necessarily be cancelable. So we're carrying cancelable energy with this situation where it doesn't really seem like it needs to be there. Whereas like it does need to be with this one. The other one, the other one, this one. But since we're gonna end up combining all of the, whether they're good or bad or cancelable or uncancelable, we're gonna push them together into one and carry it with the same energy. And then people are going to dismiss it because they're like, look at this. They're going to look at like this one and be like, this is dumb. I don't care. This is like, it's not cool, but like, I don't care because it's not like illegal. And so this is kind of the problem of why we need to have the conversations about which ones are like, what, not only are they inappropriate, but why they're inappropriate, and how inappropriate are they, and how forgivable, and how like, can you move on from the inappropriate action? So that's it. Also, there's probably not going to be any like true evidence from any of these situations, which is unfortunate. But of course, we operate with due process, innocent until proven guilty. So, he's not. He literally can just ignore it, and nothing will happen. What ends up happening is when people don't ignore these kind of, and like you, like I'm not trying to tell you guys what how to get around doing something inappropriate, but usually what happens is when like the person responds, that's when they get caught, because it's like, well, I did this, and then they get caught in like a lie, or they'll admit to something, and people be like, see, I knew this was right, then this must be right, and they start connecting dots, and like all of a sudden this person's like fucked. But he's probably just not going to care, which is unfortunate. So yeah, something.